What if support? Lyrilusc, everybody. Yeah, I decided to go with this one because A, S-Code Night needs the, the views, and B, because, well, I needed it more time to get all the cards together. But hey, I don't have to worry about that later. So yeah, Lyriluscs. Let's get into it. Any day now. Not they are.
Have to admit,
Like the new getup.
It's okay.
hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of What If Support, where I
wonder who that could be. Yep, definitely a phone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jones Turner.
Hang up. Why'd you give him your phone number?
Because I would like to make a request for a new video. How about Trick Stars?
No.
I am not reviewing Trick Stars.
But they're...
I freaking hate Trick Stars.
Look, even if you want
I
them
am
to have
not
support,
making a What If
no,
Support
they're
video
getting anime
around
support.
Trick Stars.
But Trick Stars, they're the...
No, they don't deserve it.
They don't need
they're the
it.
most meta deck in the game so far.
Which is
You've
why they
gotta
don't
review
need
Trick
it.
Stars.
Look, I'm already doing a video.
Yeah, I'm going to
It's not
support
Lyrilusc.
something that's going to get support for the next couple of
well,
years. That makes sense.
Okay, bye.
That's like making Elemental Hero support. They're going to keep making it anyway. Why bother?
Today we're doing Lyriluscs.
Yay!
Lyriluscs were a deck used by Lulu Obsidian in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Art 5 anime. Their main theme is swarming the field for rank 1 Exceed summons and powering them up through the abundance of Exceed materials and
Or their good
additional
friend, the
effects.
Tyrant Neptune.
Like Wind Witches,
Till we
it's
got
kind of a
banned.
shame that this deck wasn't really given enough time to shine. However, unlike Wind Witches, they've
These are
actually
good.
managed to become a little bit more than an engine.
They
despite
became an
having
actual
only a
deck.
few cards. So for this support, I expanded on their ability to swarm the field, along with the benefit of having more Exceed materials and whatnot. And also,
Makes
like
sense.
the Wind Witch video, there will be no fusion support here whatsoever.
Sounds fair.
So, I'm S-Goat Knight, and this is the support I came up with for Lyriluscs.
Monster Cardos. Lyrilusc Ruby Robin, Winged level 1. Wing Beast effect, 100 attack, no defense. If your opponent targets a level/rank 1 monster you control for an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, end the battle phase. However, banish this card the next time it would be sent to the GY. That's just a straight great effect. You know, you got a Lyrilusc on the field. It doesn't matter if it's an Xyz or a regular monster. Just if it's targeted for attack, special this thing from the hand. It's a battle fader basically, and even banishes itself. And even the fact that it banishes itself when it leaves the field, is a bit of a risk. Not really, considering Xyz engine and Xyz, the whole mechanics of how Xyz materials work of not being sent to the graveyard under certain mechanics. This wouldn't really affect it. So its neg became kind of a plus, but it just even if it does get banished, it's not the end of the world. So yeah. Anyway, a wind attribute Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field as an Xyz material gains the following effect. During the battle phase, your opponent cannot activate card effects until the end of the damage step. Oh, fuck. You're gonna turn Lyriluscs into ancient gears? Really? Bad enough to get 19 attacks if they have... Bad enough to get a lot of attacks depending on how many Xyz materials they have. I mean, I know they don't have a lot of attack points, and that's what makes them a bit more fair. But at the same time, it's they got so many attacks. They might as well have a lot. And now you're gonna be you also can't use cards. I mean, great, this is fantastic support for them. But it's also, I'm just imagining being the guy facing them, and we're just there fuck you. Anyway, next. Lyrilusc Emerald Ren, Wind level 1. Wing Beast effect, attack 100, defense 100. If this monster is the only monster on the field, you contribute this card, and if you do, special summon 2 level 1 Wing Beast monsters from your GY or deck. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Wingard Beast monsters. It says Wingard. Anyway, this card, just from the get-go, is just a really good card. I mean, you could say it's situational, that it has to be the only monster on the field. It's only monster on the field. Not your opponent's, your side of the field, the field in general. So this is this is a fantastic first turn play. It's kind of dead after that. But then again, in Yu-Gi-Oh, when it comes to if you're going first, there's a lot of cards that are put in the deck simply because these are great when you go first. So I name a few, but I can't think of any. So I'm a genius at this. But hey, special summoning 2 level 1 winged beast monsters and straight up from the deck, you can't argue with that. Or granted, or the graveyard, but you know. And yeah, you can't special summon from the extra deck except winged beast monsters, but that's just a standard restriction. It's perfectly fine. Anyway, next part. If a Lyrilusc monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each effective Lyrilusc Emerald Wren once per turn. So that's just pretty straight up good protection. Granted, most of the Lyrilusc Xyz monsters don't have any problems with battle, but they can have some trouble with card effects. I missed I haven't fought Lyrilusc in a while. This is also protecting your Lyrilusc's non-Xyz monsters. So if you bring out that battle fade or one from earlier, you can just go ahead and you can just make sure that it can't be killed as easily, and then it can keep the monster. That's just straight up good card design. Can I see this card being run? Probably. I don't know about that, considering it's just like the only card on the field would be its one big detriment. But hey, I could see maybe like 1 or 2 being played. People run 3 Garnets in order to get it fucking what's it called, Brilliant Fusion off, because it actually reduces their chances of bricking into Garnets. Yes, we run more to reduce our chances of bricking. How does that work? Anyway, next. Emerald Citron Sandpiper thingy. Wind level 1 Wing Beast effect. I can't read, okay? 0 attack, 100 defense. I am a professional. If this monster is special summoned, you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, and if you do, return that target to the hand. You can only special summon 1 Lyrilusc Citron Sandpaper per turn. Okay, so that's kind of iffy, considering I don't know how this thing doesn't seem to have any inherent special summoning conditions. I mean, maybe we'll get, and considering the next one needs to be like the whole Xyz monster, Xyz summon effect, you know, like if used for material. Doesn't seem like it's going to get one. I mean, granted, again, I don't know every Lyrilusc card, so maybe there is another one that can special summon in it easier, but just like, if this monster is special summoned, you can negate a card. Well, we can't really use that, we can't really use that in combination with the last Lyrilusc monster we just did. We're just like, yeah, this is the only one in your hand, special summon 2 more, if this is the only monster on the field, special summon 2 from the deck, considering then its other effect is just useless. Unless your opponent has like a continuous trap or spell face up or something like that, like I don't know, like a dead Brilliant Fusion or something like that, but it's just kind of iffy, you know? Or maybe it was like a field spell or something, I don't know. Well, then again, you're just returning it to the hand, so if anything, you're helping them. I don't know, it's one of those things where just like, this seems kind of situational, but I could see it being played if you could get the effect off, considering Compulsory Evacuation Device, Neoswish, and Grand Mole. They're still good cards. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still good cards, like Monster Reborn. People say it's been power crept by Soul Charge, but I still think it's a solid enough card to warrant putting in a deck. At least that's me, a casual scrub. Anyway, what's the next effect? If a wind attribute Xyz monster is Xyz summoned using this card in its Xyz material, ZZZZZ, it gains the following effect. Once per turn, you can normal summon 1 Lyrilusc monster from your hand in addition to your normal summoner set. You have to normal summon it, no setting though. And then again, when was the last time you ever saw a Lyrilusc set a monster? Unless they were desperate. And so that's just a straight up great effect. I mean, you don't even have to pay an Xyz material, and you just get a double summon, like every turn. You don't even, again, there's no cost to it, just every turn, double summon. As long as it's for a Lyrilusc monster, and you have to normal summon it, but let's be real here. That's not much of a cost. The cost is you have to run your own archetype. And people just stand there like, what cost? Anyway, good card. Can't argue with that one. The first effect's kind of iffy, but the second effect more than makes up for it. Next. Lyrilusc Lapis Dunlin. Wind level 1. Winged Beast effect monster with 0 attack, 0 defense. Uh-oh, this one's the weakest of them all, I think. Or at least tied with some of the weakest. I don't know. The weakest of the new support. Anyway, once per turn, if all monster... Sorry, I don't mean to be a grammar Nazi, but this is just something I like doing. If all monster you control are level 1 Winged Beast monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, target 1 face-up monster on the field, that target's effect is negated. So that's a pretty standard good effect. I mean, the bit of a problem with it is the fact that all monsters you control have to be level 1 Winged Beast monsters. So if you have the Xyz monster in the field, or God forbid for some reason you're running the Fusion, maybe for style points, you can't special this thing. So that's a bit of an iffy thing. But like, if you're desperate and you just really need it, you can special summon this thing easily. So, that more than makes up for it. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's dead in your hand if the field isn't set up for it, but if the field is set for it, it's just what you need. Also, it targets a face-up monster on the field and negates its effect. I guess you could negate one of your own cards' effects or something like that, but just feels kind of situational, but it's fine enough, Nowadays in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're not negating everything, you're not playing the game right. Anyway, if a wind attribute Xyz monster is Xyz summoned using this card as an Xyz material, it gains the following effect. If this card would leave the field, you can detach one Xyz material instead. That's just a straight up good effect. I mean, granted, it doesn't protect against everything, considering most of the Lyrilusc Xyz monsters have battle protection, but that's it. Battle protection. If they get Raigeki, they're basically fucked as far as I can remember. So yeah, this is great for just giving them help with, generic sort of protection. I mean, yeah, or getting banished by something like, Karma Cut. I don't know, just coming up with the first thing that comes to mind. But hey, that's just a straight great effect. Just, hey, more protection the better. I kind of wish it did a bit more, but to be fair, it could also do less. So, great card. Next. The Spellzentropus. Lyrilusc Swarm Dance. Normal spell. If all monsters you control are Lyrilusc monsters, you can target one Lyrilusc monster you control, and if you do, draw one card for each monster with the same name as that target you control. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Lyrilusc monsters. You can only use the effect of Lyrilusc Swarm Dance once per turn. I like how they made it really, really hard once per turn. I mean, they could have just said, you can only use this effect once per turn, but, semantics. I guess if you want to make sure that no one tries to, overuse it, that'd be the case. But anyway, as for the card itself, it's just a solid good card. The only cost is you have to control a bunch of Lyrilusc monsters with the same name, which drawing 3 monsters with the same name in your opening hand is not something easy to do. It's not impossible, but it's kind of difficult. But Lyrilusc managed to get around it considering all their effects. And to be fair, no deck will ever complain about having a plus. If your deck is complaining about having a plus, what deck are you running? And what is wrong with it? So, well, I guess unless you're running Dark Worlds, but even then, Dark Worlds and Fables get pluses by being negged, so it's debatable. But hey, no deck will ever complain about getting some draw power. And, nothing even happens to the ones you're just doing. You're just getting, again, it's basically Pot of Greed. Again, can't argue with that. The only cost is you have to control Lyrilusc monsters, which, again, in Archetype support. But yeah, great card. Don't need to explain much more. Of course, we're starting with 1-1. Lyrilusc Brigade, quick play spell. If you target a Lyrilusc... No, sorry. If you control a Lyrilusc Xyz monster, you can special summon... I'm going to say it again. If you control a Lyrilusc Xyz monster, you can shuffle any number of Lyrilusc monsters in your GY back into the deck. And if you do, target one Lyrilusc Xyz monster you control. That target gains attack equal to the number of Lyrilusc monsters you shuffled times 300. That is a very powerful effect. Because, again, I know all the Lyriluscs like ganging up on the field together and then being just basically fodder, but here's the thing. It's still a level 1 spam archetype, so if you can't go in the extra deck by, your opponent's I think it's Dimensional Barrier or something like that, that one card that says, you cannot summon a monster of the type I declare, Rituals, Pendulum, Xyz, Synchro. You can't call Lynx yet, but, or Fusion. But anyway, if you got just a bunch of level 1s in the graveyard because you bricked early hand, but you managed to make up for it now, you can just put all those Lyrilusc back into the deck, and then that Xyz monster gains 300 attack for each. I mean, granted, it's making your Lyrilusc a beat stick, but Lyrilusc love to attack directly, and while they don't have much power, they make up for it with the amount of attacks they do. So that is positively devastating, and God forbid they had the Ancient Gear one at the beginning. Ugh. A great card. It's kind of situational with the late game, but hey, no, Lyrilusc will never complain about having more attack points. Anyway, next. Lyrilusc Formation Wing. Add one Lyrilusc monster from your deck to your hand, and if you control a Lyrilusc monster, special summon the monster you added. You can only use this effect of Lyrilusc Formation Wing once per turn. That's just a really great card. I don't even need to explain why. It's Rhoda that also lets you special summon. Do I need to say more? No! Next. Lyrilusc Graceful Glide. Continuous Trap. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you tribute one Lyrilusc monster, and if you do, negate that target's effect. It depends on what the monster effect would ultimately be, but it could also be potentially a very powerful effect. I mean, it's kind of iffy if you really want to go around tributing your Lyrilusc monster, but if you made the Xyz monster and you don't run any links, odds are your other Lyrilusc monsters are just dead in your hand. So they might as well be useful for negation and stuff like that, I guess. It's kind of one of those iffy cards. I could see people running it at 1 just in case, because again, if you're not negating everything, it's kind of iffy, but hey, you know. And hey, there was that card earlier, just like, hey, yeah, make your thing a power boost and beat Pot of Avarice, basically. So yeah, you're feeling that fire. So I think that would be worth running it at least at 1, or at least in the side deck. But anyway, it's decent enough. Lyrilusc Summer Glide. I can't read. Continuous Trap. Every time you special summon a Lyrilusc monster, inflict 400 points of damage to your opponents. Your opponent cannot negate the effects of Lyrilusc monsters you control. Okay, so I can totally see this being used for the second effect more so than the first, because while the burn is nice, burn doesn't get very far in Yu-Gi-Oh! But then again, considering how the time duel rules we have nowadays, those 400 life points of damage could actually come back to save your ass. Because I really am waiting for the day where someone just wins through sparks thanks to the time duel rules. And when that happens, I think I can officially quit this game. Okay. But, yeah. Do I need to really explain more? I mean, Lyrilusc loves special summoning themselves, so just giving them a bit of burn that give them a bit of an edge on top of that is just great. Considering, again, they love special summoning, they have low attack as is, so anything to make their job easier, they'll thank you for. And you can't even negate their effects, so it's just like, ugh. I'm just imagining flying this, and I'm just like, fuck you. It's not like a trickster level of fuck you, but it's still like a level of fuck you. Anyway, next. Xyz monsters. Lyrilusc Soothing Nothing Touch. Nuthatch? Lyrilusc Soothing Nuthatch. I don't know why I didn't read it that way. Anyway, Wind rank 1. Winged Beast Xyz effect monster with 2+ level 1 monsters of the material. And its attack and defense is 0. This card gains 300 attack for each Xyz material attached to it. Once per turn, you can target up to 2. Once per turn, you can target 2 up to I guess I was reading correctly. Once per turn, you can target 2 up to Lyrilusc monsters in your hand and in your graveyard. If you do, attach those targets to a face-up Xyz Lyrilusc Xyz monster as Xyz material. Okay, that is just a great up effect. Because I'm a casual player of Hazy Flames, if anyone remembers that archetype. And they got like Hazy Pillar and Hazy E-Glory and Hazy Flame in Basil Trice as their boss monster. And and they got a card which is literally like, summon the Hazy Flame without tributing, and then you can put it underneath your Xyz monster. And gives it a bunch of fuel for the fire. Because I actually legitimately like Basil Trice, but, you know, I'm playing Hazy Flames. They weren't even that good when they came out. Anyway, this card just is great, considering, okay, so it gains 300 attack for every Xyz material it has, and then, once per turn, you can target the 2 Lyrilusc in your hand or in your graveyard, and then just put it on the Lyrilusc. So it's just like, okay, you could only get 2 on the field, and you got 2 others in your hand you can't use. Now you can. Oh, 2 of them died, but you got the 2 on the field. Now they're useful. It's just like, ugh. All face-up Lyrilusc monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Oh, lovely. They don't even need to detach anymore in order to lose it. You know, the whole detaching to not be destroyed or take damage was annoying, but at least you knew that you were weakening the Lyrilusc monster. Now it's like, you're not even doing that. And then there's that Lyrilusc card from earlier that's like, yeah, you can't kill me with my card effects either. Just like, how the fuck do I out you? It's just... Okay, granted, the whole card effect one is like the whole you do have to detach for it, but still like, I'm imagining fighting this thing. Ugh. Well, that's a what-if scenario, and this is support that's probably never going to exist, unfortunately, but could just sad because it's good support, but still. Next. Lyrilusc Profound Nightingale. Wind rank 1. Wind Beast Xyz effect with no attack or defense. Can only be Xyz summoned using Lyrilusc assembled Nightingale as Xyz material. Transfers materials to this card. So it's kind of a rank up in a sense. Or not really a rank up, sort of like what Hope Ray, the original, is to Hope. Or rather, Utopia Ray is to Utopia. Sorry, I called the OCG name. So, it's kind of an upgrade, but it's also kind of a there. Anyway, I like how it also has no materials. So it's not like it isn't even pretending you can see something. Because there are some cards that's like, yeah, 2 level 9s or something like that, but you can't actually make me with 2 level 9s. Or it's like Cyber Dragon Infinity, where there's like 3 cards in the game that can actually Xyz summon it legitimately. It's just like, this thing's just straight up in there being like, yeah, you just can't make me unless you use this. Anyway, transfers materials to this card and cannot be special summoned other ways. This monster gains 500 attack points for each Xyz material attached to this monster. Here. Okay, so it's getting a bigger power boost. That's good. Can attack your opponent directly, and if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, the damage inflicted is doubled, and this is the only monster that is allowed to attack while it is on the field. What? They gave it the Thousand Eyes Restrict curse of 2 as well. It's just like, so this thing becomes a big beater, can be basically kind of, I'm just going to say in a sense, ranked up into it, even though, or other Xyz change or something like that, but you know what I'm getting at with that. And this thing could go for direct attack, and if your opponent has more monsters than you do, it deals double damage, which means it basically has 1,000 attack points per Xyz material, and your opponents can't attack. Because again, this is the only monster that's allowed to attack while it's on the field. It's not like Malefic's, where it's like the only monster on your side of the field that's allowed to attack. No, the only monster that is allowed to attack. Just about it. It's like, ow. And again, that anti-Raigeki card from earlier. Ah! I mean, granted, your opponent has to give up their Nightingale, but if I could go into this, I'd gladly give up my Nightingale. It's just like, yeah, it's specific, but it's specific for a good reason. This isn't like Utopia Ray, the original version, where just like, why would I ever make this thing? Unless I was needing extra material for Utopia, the Lightning. But just like, I think I've made my case. This card would just be ridiculous.
Thank you for watching another
it's over.
of What If Support. So, are there any other Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 archetypes you want me to do?
Arc 5,
Drop a comment down below, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.
Well, that was easy. I wonder what to do next.
I wonder what you're going to do for Christmas. You've already done the winter bells and that sort of stuff.
Hello?
Mr. S-Code, can I ask you a question?
You just did.
No, I'm not doing Trick Stars.
Don't!
Actually, I was gonna ask why you hate Trick Stars so much.
They're annoying.
Well, that's an obvious statement. For you see, Trick Stars are the deck I would describe as...
You had to throw in the Mega Man X7, right?
Burn to the ground!
Oh well, everyone has that deck they just can't stand.
Burn to the ground! Burn!
Yeah. I can't really say I blame them. Everyone has that one deck they just can't stand. I can't stand Madolches, Jace Hubbard can't stand, and Masterpiece, you can't stand Trick Stars. Well, not Masterpiece, just True Dracos as a whole, but just, it... And, okay, so this... I have no idea what this guy's going to do for Christmas, though, considering he already did the Wind Witches. But if I can give a suggestion, just a suggestion... those cards with the ice counters or snow counters. I know that's not much of an archetype, considering the only thing they have in common is having ice counters, but I can't think of anything else. Oh, wait, no, we can make a Santa Claus archetype. Oh, wait, Kaijus are basically the Santa Claus archetype. Huh. Well, anyway, I'm just giving suggestions. Good work on the archetype, dude. I wish these were cards that actually existed. Too bad they never will be, because, well, meh. See ya!